Hello, this is George, Holistic Trader Academy on January the 20th, which is a Wednesday. Crazy
Order
market
pending.
action. I'm narrating this video. The length of it is about an hour and 12 minutes, and I figured out that really nobody wants to sit through the torture of listening to me for about an hour plus. So I'm basically going to give you the core of what's going on. I'm going to show you the entry and the exit along with the management and the logic of the trade. Portions of this I'm going to speed through just for time's sakes. So the idea here, looking at the conditions of the market at that time, we were in a swift and a full harmony. Those two green lines down there are telling me that the big blocks and the small blocks of contracts are in sync with price. Along with the Aura Cloud, which is the band that is pink, it's telling me that the trend in the market right now is still down. However, there's signs that things
Order
are changing.
filled.
So I'm starting an entry level probe in and around 27
Order
and 90.
pending.
And immediately when I got into that trade, I knew I needed to add into this trade at a lower price. I felt my entry is a little bit on the early side. So looking at this, another entry at 80 and another entry at 71. My stop on this trade is going to be 60, knowing if we break that level that we are going to start attacking the lows and pick up momentum that way. So that's the initial trade at 27.90 executed, and the third trade at 27.71 is put. So just a function of waiting for these prices to come in. So what is the main idea here? Why did we look at this range and say I really want to get in and get involved? Simply the market has extended itself with a move of close to about 2 points since then, and we have not really had any meaningful retracement or a pullback. So I was looking for a sign that the market is changing its behavior, and the sign came in the form of that swift and full harmony. Right when I saw that, I knew the market is starting to change. Then now I'm looking at the Aura Cloud, which is the pink band. I'm showing the signs of changing that direction as well. Then I'm showing that gray band, which insinuate that there's a directional shift. It's called the transitional zone. So from all these factors, I started to establish a position, but I knew fairly quickly with the way the market is behaving that my average stop needs to be reflecting the increased volatility in the market. So the first entry
Order
is
pending.
at that 27.90, 27.80, 27.71, and I felt like I may not even get those low prices, so I put a stop at 28.02. Upon a breakout, I'll get involved and I'll get to add another contract as prices moving higher. But luckily, I got a retracement in the market. It looked kind of like almost close, about to get stopped out. So I was getting prepared for a stop out on 3 contracts. I wasn't willing to really move my stop beyond 60. 27.60 was going to be the line in the sand, due to the fact that any lower than that, you're going to see some momentum on the downside. So soon enough, we're going to speed up through this tape and get filled on the rest, and we'll move on with the rest of this trade as far as the management portion of it. Yeah, the volatility in this market for the past few days has been incredible. Actually, for the past 3 weeks, and the market has been extremely giving, and that's one of the reasons I, felt multiple contracts is the way to go. Trading 2, 3, 4 to 6 contracts is definitely, this is the type of environment when you're in sync with it, you're going to be producing a lot of profitability. So a little bit of patience here, and we're going to see us speeding up through this tape and getting through to filling up the rest of the trades. I'm going to mute it for a second. I just notated there the fact that we are changing the aura cloud. All right, now we got the second fill. It makes a funny noise when we speed through that process. Yeah, between crude and TF, the market has been extremely lucrative, and actually also I do trade DAX, the DAX market, and that market is always volatile. It doesn't matter if the rest of the indices are or not. The average range for that index is fairly large. So been very good the last 3 weeks. So we're sitting here waiting on that last fill at 27.71. All right, that's the third fill. Yeah, I kind of felt nervous here. I wanted to see if we can get a retracement or a pullback where I could maybe exit some of my position versus being in 3 contracts. But I stuck to my stop loss, which is 27.60, and now we see a shift in the harmony. We have a swift and we have a full on the downside against the clouds. So that does not is not a signal when it comes to my system. What I'm looking for a full harmony, swift harmony, and I'm looking for the aura cloud to be in the same direction for me to take a trade. So I'm using a little bit of discretion here in the way I manage this trade, knowing that we have moved so much in the downward direction without any corrections. I think it's 12:20 or 12:30 at that time, and we have been in a downward momentum all morning long. Right. So here we're taking a look at the potential in price movement. So the 27.60 is definitely my stop, and looking at 27.71 as a place for prices to start moving in my favor. And here, I take a sigh of relief seeing price action is improving. I think the drawdown on this trade was around 350 on 3 contracts. Not too bad, and I was willing to take the full stop if it didn't work out. So the key here is to see price movement in and around 27.90. At that point, I'm hoping to see Swift long and Full Harmony long get back online, meaning that volume is starting to get back in sync with price. Right now we don't have that, so I'm closely watching that market, and if things start getting worse, I need to bail out. But luckily price improves. Yeah, during market in the trading room, you get live commentary, market commentary, and you'll see the trades live, and you see the entry and the exit and the management like you see it right here. All right, so now it's a function of trying to see if the market has enough strength to break through 27.90. When I look at the 12 NT Rinko, it's kind of troublesome because it looks like we're failing the transitional zone, which is that gray area. But at the same time, when I look at the 6 NT Rinko, this is the early signs that things are moving and improving. So I'm going off of that. My signal is generated off the 6 NT Rinko.
Order pending.
So right now, the idea here is the middle of the line, which is the dotted line that you see in the middle of the aura cloud. As long as that line its integrity is held and we're trading in and around it or above it, that tells me that prices are starting to hold its range and it's showing higher lows. So as long as that's going on, I'm still involved in that trade. So I'm gonna put an entry at 80 for the fourth contract. So here we have only Swift Harmony. A premium setup is whenever you have Swift and Full Harmony. But again, in this specific trade, I used a little bit of discretion. But I always had my eye on the line in the sand, which is 60. Anything, we get anywhere closer to 60 again, I'm gonna start unloading my position. So we're gonna come to this price, 27.80. Now all these trades, again, you're gonna see them on StockTwits, because as I was making these entries and managing this trade and exiting, I posted the real time on StockTwits. Alright, so coming in 27.80, that's the middle of the range. We're looking for a hit here and price reversing. Definitely if I start seeing 27.78, I'm concerned. 27.70,
order filled.
I'm definitely concerned. I may start unloading there, and definitely 27.60 is my final line in the sand. So we got that entry. So we have 4 at 27.80. And I felt optimistic at that point. My target was 28.50. Now what's the reason behind that number? Very simply, there's no magical numbers in trading crude, but people do behave around whole numbers and half back, meaning you'll see prices come into a whole number like 20 let's call it, 28. Then you see it pull back to 27.5. Then you see it move from 27.5 to 28.5. Then pull back to 28. So those are kind of like almost markers in the price structure that people do react to, and that's pretty much the only support and resistance that I could even acknowledge. Beyond that, I try not to get involved into the idea that this level is important versus another level. So 27.80, and we're hoping to see a breakout below above 28. That will pick up some momentum in which we could add to it, and eventually that will happen and we end up getting into 2 more contracts. All right, so let's kind of keep looking at this. So what do I observe? What do I see? What keeps me in the trade longer is the fact that we came in around 12.35 to 12.38 to that middle of that line, that red line, and we bounced back off of it. So that tells me that, hey, listen, there's a change in momentum, there's change in psychology in this market. And I'm looking at the rest of the indices. I'm seeing Russell 2000 really taking off. I'm seeing NQ, Nasdaq is really taking off. I'm seeing all these indices are moving. So I mean, that gives me hope that, hey, not necessarily they're correlated, but with the structure the way it is in crude, potentially we could get some sort of short covering based on the optimism that things are turning around in the general indices. So I have an aura cloud in my favor right now. I have Swift and a full. So that's a spear trade that got triggered. So I'm optimistic that things are moving in my direction. We broke above 28, and that was the most recent high. So it's a function of we had expansion in price, we have a transitional zone, we have an aura cloud in our favor, the Swift harmony and the full harmony are in my favor as well. So all this alignment of conditions that tells me, if you're long, you're in the right direction. Okay. Now we're getting a pullback. So now what I'm looking for a trigger trade. A trigger trade is a pullback of 2 to 3 candles and a close of that, a reversal candle. So we're about to get that at 28.09, and once that happens, I send my order, a limit order for execution. So I'm waiting on that one candle, this current candle, to close.
Order filled.
Order sent and executed. So now we're in 5 contracts at 27.86 and keeping my stop ready. Looking for another expansion. Now when I look at that 12 NT Rinko, I'm showing that we are in the middle of the aura clouds there. So that's a troublesome spot for me, because we're in and around that area. You see a lot of failures, so I'm moving to break even plus, and I'm hoping they don't come all the way back and hit me. And I gotta move my target, because the target is all the way to the half back at 28 half. So that's nice, and so we're moving and closing above that middle of the aura cloud on the 12 NT Renko. So that's good. Now let's see if so what happens next. It's quite tempting in that moment for me to start taking profits. It really was. But it was just one of those things where, I felt that there is momentum in this market, and selling my orders kind of too early is counterproductive to the environment that I'm in. And in any other day, having $1,400 in one trade, you take that in a heartbeat, right? But in this kind of environment that we are in right now, it's momentum. Look at from 853 all the way down to about 1226. The market has been in nothing but down market. So if we retraced even quarter of that, I felt that leaving the trade in for longer is the way to go. And I had one more stab at adding one more contract, is around 2802, 2804, 2802, thinking if this thing is for real, then you really can't break down anywhere below 2790. So if we had 2790 coming back all the way down, then for all practical reasons I'm wrong on my assessment. So
Order
at 2802, which is okay. So what's the rationale behind it? You have that transitional zone, that gray area. That gray area works very well at protecting price. So whenever you see prices come up to it and you have a strong trend, it tend to bounce off of it, and figured out that 2802, it's the bottom of that transitional zone, so any bounce is going to happen in and around that area. If it doesn't hold and we break 2797 and we start heading toward 2790, then at that point I'll cry a little bit and take whatever profit that I had and move on with life. But again, there's a happy story at the end of this.
Order filled.
All right, so that's the last entry of on the 6 contracts. So we have 6 contracts now. 2804, I got filled at 2802. And I think we experienced a little bit more downward pressure, but it ends up holding up. So go look at let's look at that 12 NT Renko again. We're right there at the middle of the aura clouds. So that's in the middle of that range. Prices tend to struggle, even though that we hit the 20, but we were struggling a little bit. So I truly felt that I may get stopped out here for a small profit, but I kind of kept it as close to my entry point as possible. And those are just one of those things where you notice after doing this for so many years that whenever you put your stop too close to the market, they always come and hit you before they move higher. So you really need to kind of manage your trailing stop by first seeing the market makes a move, then it consolidates, and you could move your trailing stop under that consolidation. Then it makes another leg and it consolidates. Wait, let it consolidate, make a high, make a low, and then once you have that range, put your trailing stop right under it. So that kind of kept me in this trade. If I got a bit too nervous and ended up tighten up my stop, I think I would have gotten stopped out for a lot less money on this trade. Yeah, so I went back with that order to basically break even plus 2 ticks, and I kind of mentally resigned to the fact that, hey, if they're gonna come back down and hit me, then it is what it is. Yeah, a couple of bad signs here is the fact that the 12 NT Renko is telling me we're struggling. Then also we lost, or the Swift and Full Harmony concluded itself. So just at that point, it was just one of those things where, I used my discretion, and I was looking for exactly what just happened here. I'm looking for that reversal candle, which we eventually got. And now we're looking for a break above 28.20, and if we start seeing prices go, okay, so we got Swift and Full, so that's encouraging right there, knowing that the system triggered another signals for me to actually even add more contracts. I didn't do any more adding here. I felt like 6 is enough. So feeling a break above 20, and the price action it really was very strong. I was like, okay, well, we're gonna hold on through this and try to maximize our exit. Again, every single part of this was posted on StockTwits under Holistic Trader Academy, and you could see the ad, the thinking, and I tape all my sessions, so that's how we came across this video for you. So now at this point I'm looking for an explosion above 28.40. We have it, and I'm looking for an exit. And right when we had that one candle reversal there, I started getting nervous. So I was like, all right, let's take 46 and get out of the way. And pretty much that kind of conclude this trade. And hopefully you guys learned through this process. Didn't want you guys to come through and listen to about an hour and 12 minutes worth of conversation. But in essence, this is
Target
exactly how
filled.
that trade came about, and that's the conclusion of that trade. Ended up being $3,415, I think. Pretty nice lick for a Wednesday, and I hope this market continue with this incredible volatility. You guys have a great day.